Two lames sitting in a tree. Kissing. Lame number one, Nina Turner, the political influencer. Lame number two, Jimmy Dore, the COVID guy. So, Nina Turner is big on big talk on Twitter, doesn't like to tag people a lot, doesn't like to name names a lot, likes to sort of, doesn't want to say anything too sort of, dangerous or aggressive towards the squad, the wonderful squad, right? Even after they burnt her so badly. Um, and I think she's just really mostly performative. Does she have some good traits? Absolutely. Would she have been better to be in power than the person that she lost to, I guess twice now? Absolutely. However, just because she's better than the person who actually won has nothing to do with her performative, like squad like performance that I've seen from her. A lot of big talk when it comes to action, not so much. But I'm sure people who like her will go and point out where, oh, she did this thing and that thing. Yeah, I'm well aware of the things that she's done, but the overall that I'm getting from her is much more of the same. The same stuff you see from AOC and the others. That's what I would expect from Nina Turner. Jimmy Dore, he's the COVID guy, right? Mr. I'm just a comedian, right? Very dishonest, pandering to a very right wing audience. But what do we have here? Um, Jimmy Dore, I guess let's start the story. So Nina Turner posts on Twitter, my prediction of a fallout of the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago is that we're probably going to see a bunch of MAGA Republicans call to abolish the FBI. So, seems pretty innocent. I mean, she's just saying she thinks they're going to start calling the boss the FBI. I mean, it's not a super controversial thing to say. But for some reason, Mr. Jimmy Dore, who makes a living from basically doing a Biden derangement syndrome shtick that he likes to do, which he, this is something he makes a lot of money from people who are, upset with the Democratic Party, either from the left or the right. And you can get some really good, and he does really good work in terms of exposing the Democrats, calling them out, showing their hypocrisy, right? So if that's what you like, if you're like a Biden derangement syndrome and you just wanted to see how much Democrats suck, you don't really care so much about change and making things better. You just want to sit there and nod your head and like, yeah, the Democrats suck. Oh, look what Biden's doing. All these Democrats are fake. Oh, look at these fake progressive. If that's the kind of content you like, and a lot of COVID thing, and oh, it's just a cold. It's a cold. It's a cold. If that's what you like, you will love Jimmy Dore. That being said, she just made an innocent statement. I don't see that big a deal about it. He comments, Jimmy Dore says, when lefties cheer on the FBI, they're serious about being a Democrat. Now, I'm pretty sure rational people who are not in a bubble or echo chamber will have observed that nowhere in Nina Turner's tweet did she cheer on the FBI. That's not something she directly stated, or it's not something that she implied. It's not something that any rational person, any reasonable person would infer from what she said. What part of her saying that she thinks the MAGA Republicans are going to call to abolish the FBI, what part of that sounds like even vaguely cheering for the FBI? I don't know what your definition of cheering for the FBI is, or cheering for anything is, but I don't think simply making a prediction that they're going to try to abolish the FBI is in any way cheering the FBI. She's not stating a position about support for the FBI or against the FBI. Her statement is purely a prediction of what she expects the behavior of these so-called MAGA Republicans are going to do, right? Where in that comes her giving even a hint of her position of support or against the FBI. So Jimmy Dore's response to her, essentially unhinged, irrational, not connected to reality at all. This statement has nothing to do with the comment that Miss political influencer Nina Turner has posted. But because again we're dealing with two lames, instead of crushing him nicely and easily for his irrational response to her tweet, she writes, when Jimmy Dore knocks a black, why does she mention the fact that she's so-called black, whatever that means? Why does her skin color, why is that relevant? Why does she start, this is like at the beginning of her tweet, she gets right to identity politics of knocks a black progressive woman for pointing out conservative. Like, you have limited characters that you can use on Twitter. Why would you waste characters on that? Why would she not just say, when Jimmy Dore knocks a progressive woman, I think her ideology is relevant to the statement she's making. Skin color, not so much. I don't know why the skin color, why she threw that in there. But I think the ideology is relevant to her statement if we read the rest of it. So why doesn't she just say, when Jimmy Dore knocks a progressive woman, I don't even know her the gender as well, right? Why is the gender in there? Is it okay if he did this to a progressive male, but it's a problem because she's a woman? Again, why are all this identity stuff? She's got, I'm black and a woman and progressive. Like, when Jimmy Dore knocks a progressive for pointing out conservatives' hypocrisy, and see, that's why it's relevant to ideology, right? Because she's stating that she's a progressive and she's calling out people with a different ideology. And then she's kind of stating that he's kind of like jumping in the middle. So the relevance of her saying she's a progressive is that if a progressive is calling out this other ideology and you're having a problem with that, it almost suggests that you're aligned with that ideology as opposed to being a progressive. So it's like she's suggesting that he's not a progressive, right? So that's the only thing that's relevant here. Whether she's a woman or her skin is brown is not relevant. What's relevant is that Jimmy Dore is, quote unquote, knocking a progressive, period, I'm going to say woman, a progressive for pointing out conservative hypocrisy when it comes to the FBI. You know he's serious about being anti-black. So now we see why she puts that in there. She's trying to frame him as being racist. That's how I read that. I don't read what she said earlier as cheering on the FBI. But I certainly read what she's saying now as she's trying to accuse Jimmy Dore of being racist. What evidence she has to back up that statement, I can't tell you. But she starts off black, progressive woman, and she ends with him being anti-black. Again, citation necessary. And protecting conservatives. She would make a valid statement saying that, implying that he's protecting progressives. That is basically how his platform, right? Any rational person looking at his content would come to the conclusion that he's pandering to conservatives. So the idea or suggestion that he's protecting conservatives would be a rational conclusion to come to based on his pattern of behavior and his reaction to her simply stating her prediction that, hey, these conservatives are going to start talking about abolishing the police, not cheering them on, just saying what she's predicting they're going to do, right? And for him to jump in the middle of that, like, the thing is, rationally, if he's a progressive and she's a progressive, so here she is, a progressive, calling out people that have this different ideology. If you're a progressive because you think progressivism is the way, that's the right way to do things, right? So you would think that conservatism is the wrong way, right? So if you guys both share the same ideology, if she's a progressive and he's a progressive, why would a progressive have a problem with another progressive calling out the quote-unquote wrong ideology? Again, from the perspective of these guys both being potentially progressives. So that would be the way I look at her statement. She is saying, pointing out that it's kind of strange for a so-called progressive to have a problem with another progressive calling out an ideology that they both should be in agreement is the wrong ideology, right? You don't become a progressive because you think that conservatism is the way. You don't become a conservative if you think progressivism is the way, right? You pick your ideology because you think the ideas of the ideology are the way to go. So, in theory, Jimmy Dore should be calling her out for inaction, for not calling out Joe Biden enough, or just a lot of talk on Twitter and not really getting stuff done, and a lot of stuff like that. But he should not be coming after her for suggesting that the MAGA folks are gonna want to abolish the FBI. Like, how is that something that is worthy? Again, if you share the same ideology, right? I'm not saying, I'm not supporting, because we're both progressives, I'm not going to call you out when you're wrong, right? Definitely call them out. But if she's simply stating about hypocrisy of this ideology that they're supposedly should be in agreement, it's a wrong ideology. Why? There's a concept called pick your battles. Like, I don't know why he would have a problem with that statement, first of all. And even if he did, why would it be worth, right? If I share the same ideology with you, I'm not going to waste my time calling you out for like something like inconsequential as like, I predict that they're going to want to buzz like that. Really? The only way that you would go after that is if you are not a progressive, right? Or if you're not a genuine person in terms of the way you present yourself is not genuine. If you're more of an entertainer putting on a show, pandering to a certain audience, right? If you're an actor like Biden, like AOC, like Trump, like Nina Turner, right? If you're a phony like these people, then you would go after these people, the Democrats or Democrat-friendly people, for just about anything, because you make money from this. Like, that is your brand. I'm the Biden derangement syndrome. The Democrats this. Look at these fake progressives. Like, that's how you pad your pockets with cold hard cash, right? If you're a genuine progressive, this is not the kind of comment you're going to make for just an innocent thing. There's a lot of stuff to critique Nina Turner for. There's a lot of stuff to go after her for. I do it all the time. But her simply stating a prediction about what MAGA's going to do, that's not it. Unless, of course, you're just an actor, an entertainer, putting on a show and pandering to your audience. You don't really have any integrity. You don't really stand for anything. It's all just for clicks, maximizing of engagement. It's all about you. If that is the reality, then yes, this response makes total sense and is actually a good idea. Because I guarantee you, a lot of the blue MAGA folks, the Biden derangement folks, will appreciate and side with Jimmy Dore on his calling out of Nina Turner, who is, showing the hypocrisy of the online left and this and that, and she's cheering on the FBI. They won't even recognize that she wasn't cheering on the FBI. They will simply accept what Jimmy Dore said as fact. Cult of personality. Just like Trump. I would almost say just like Biden. Biden is no cult of personality. Woo, that was a close one. This is the Baby Channel. Debate in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell.